today's video, we're going to learn how to make this neckline, this, also this, and lastly this, and they are all bustiers. So let's head straight to it. Now the first one, you're going to be needing your basic bodice front, like so. I have my bust line, my under bust line, and my waistline, and of course my basic dart, side bust dart, and my waist dart. Now from anywhere around your armhole, I've always said it, princess seam, armhole princess seam can come from anywhere around your armhole. So from anywhere around your armhole, you want to make this point and curve it like so. So you're going to be contouring your under bust. Okay, the reason why we contour under bust is so we have that fitted feminine look at the under bust. Now at your under bust line, you go ahead to mark 1 inch from both sides of the under bust at your bust apart measurement. From your bust apart measurement, you mark 1 inch on both sides, and you're going to be curving the lines or joining the lines to the bust point and to the waistline like so. So I want to use my marker to make this whole line visible so you guys can see it. Okay, so this line I'm joining now is actually the under bust contour. Like I said, from your bust apart measurement, you want to mark 1 inch on both sides. So having done this now, next thing we are going to do is to draw in the way we want the neckline to be. Now from your shoulder area, you want to come in by, let's say, 1.5 inch or 2 inches, depending on how deep you want the neckline to be. So on the depth of your neckline, remember you already removed 3 inches, which is your basic. Okay, I'm going ahead to mark 6.5 inches. Please be sure you note where your mark is so you don't have your cleavages all out. Okay, the fact that I use 6.5 inches does not mean that you're going to use 6.5 inches. Sorry, I don't know why I'm talking and stammering. So I'm going to be curving this like so. All right, and I'll use my marker to make it visible so you guys can see it clearly. All right, so this is what it looks like. Now the whole of this part upwards is going to be cut out, so if we do not contour, it's going to gap. Now we are going to contour our neckline. So to contour the neckline, I'm marking a line from this very part of my neck all the way to the bust point, and I'm going to be marking my bust arc like so. The bust arc is actually the distance between your bust point and your under bust, and mine is 3 inches, so I'll just do something like that. And on the bust arc, I'm going to be measuring the amount of that intake that I'll be needing for my contour dart line at the neckline. For my contour dart at the neckline. So having done that, you join it like so. I'm going to be using my marker to show that this is where the dart of the neckline contour is, and this is what this whole pattern looks like. We'll go ahead to start closing up our darts. Firstly, I'm going to be opening my side bust dart. Okay, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do want to subscribe. Click the bell notification icon so you'll be the very first person to know when I post new videos like this. Now I'm going to be cutting open this dart, and I'll close it and open it at the side bust dart. Okay, I cut open the dart, close it, and I opened the dart at the side bust dart. So right now we are going to be creating our armhole princess seam. When I cut open that star line, I'm going to be closing it up like so. And of course, I'm going ahead to tape it down, and then we'll go ahead to cut out the remaining darts, the waist dart, and also the bust under bust contour on both sides like so. So after we've cut out the dart, I'm just going to be shaping this so we don't have any pointy edge like so. And then the next thing is to cut out the neckline. So this is what it looks like, and I'll cut it out in full. So this is what this very one is looking like. Let's head straight to the second one. So for the second one, this is actually a deep off shoulder neckline. It has straps, just very tiny strap, but we'll head straight to it. First, I'm going to be contouring. Sorry, I'm marking out my dart so you guys can see it clearly. I think the line was faint. Again, we are going to be using an armhole princess seam. For the whole of the tutorial, I actually used armhole princess seam. So in case if you didn't get it for the first one, you're going to get it for the second one. So I drew in my style line. Like I said, the armhole princess seam can start from anywhere around the shoulder. And also, I'm going to be marking my underbust contour, definitely for all of them, because this is a bustier. Okay, so I'm marking my under bust contour like so, and I'm joining it to the bust point and to the waist dart also. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe. Click the bell notification icon so you'll be the very first person to know when I post videos like this. Also here we are going to be contouring our neckline, of course, because we are cutting out a whole lot and we do not want the neckline to gap. So we are going to be contouring the neckline. I also mark my bust arc on top of the contour that we made so I can impute my dart intake there. Having imputed my dart intake, I'll go ahead to connect it like so, and all the way to the bust point. And here we have our neckline contour dart. Now for this very particular design, we're also going to be contouring the shoulder. As you can see, there is nothing at the shoulder, it's just a strap. So we have to contour the shoulder so it does not gap also. Now we are using two contour guidelines here, neckline contour guideline and shoulder contour guideline. Also on the line of the shoulder contour guideline, I went ahead to impute my bust arc, and I'll be measuring the amount of that intake that I'll be using there. And so I'll go ahead to connect it like so. So for the dart intake, we are using between 0.1 to 0.5 inches for the dart intake, between 0.1 to 0.5 inches. So having done that, these are my contour guidelines and this is what they look like. I'm going to be using my marker to dot them so you guys will know that these are the contour guidelines. For the depth of my neckline, starting from the initial depth, I'm going to be marking 6.5 inches. Like I said, this is optional, and from this point, this is where the off shoulder effect is going to start. I'll be connecting it to that 6.5 inches like so. Also, I want to remind you that the 6.5 inches is optional. You can decide to come up higher depending on wherever you feel is perfect for you as a neckline. So I've connected it like so. Then I'll go ahead to start opening up and closing the dart. Firstly, I open my side bust dart. Then I'll go ahead to open up all the contour darts. When I open the contour darts, I close them up and transfer the excesses to the side bust dart that is already opened, just like so. Okay. I'm also going ahead to open the neckline contour dart. I'll close it, transferring the excess to the side bust dart. Please, if you're doing this, be sure you're cutting it just on one side. Do not cut it in full, because definitely you're transferring it to your fabric, it will be in full. I'm doing this way so that you guys will understand better, and for more, so it's okay, you're going to understand it better. But once you're cutting yours, please do well to cut it on your fabric. Just do well to cut it just once. Please do not cut in full. Just use half of your half scale. I hope you understand. So now I'm creating the armhole princess seam, which we also did initially. And also back now, I'm cutting out the neckline. You see that very part there? We also had to cut it out. And then I went ahead to cut the remaining part of the neckline. Be sure you're cutting out on the marks that you have already made. Be sure you're cutting out on the marks that you have already made. If you get confused, put your patterns together and you need to retrace your step, do so. But be sure you're cutting out on the patterns you already made. So here are the patterns for this one. Do not forget it has a strap. So that very upper part, we are not throwing it away yet because we want to get the strap. Okay. So from the midpoint of my shoulder, I'm going to be marking the midpoint of my shoulder. And from that midpoint of my shoulder, I'll go ahead to square a line all the way down. Now it's up to you to determine how wide you want your strap to be. You're going to take that measurement and also join the parallel lines. And also draw another parallel line close to the former one you did, like so. Also mark where the strap should be, so you're not doing guesswork while fixing it. So that was what I just went ahead to do now. And then I'm going ahead to cut out the strap from this very particular pattern. So having done that now, this is what we are going to be having. I'm going ahead to put them all together like so. So this is what they look like. Of course, we are going to be adding the strap. I went ahead to mark the notch of the strap on both sides, so I'm able to fix the strap where it's actually supposed to be. So this is what this looks like. We'll head to the next one. So this one is a queen Anne neckline, and we're going to be cutting this as a bustier. Also, I marked my armhole princess seam. Like I said, you can start from anywhere around your armhole, and I'm also going ahead to contour my under bust. I'm going to be joining the under bust contour dart like so to the bust point and to the waistline. Same thing we'll do to the other side. So this is what the contour dart of the under bust looks like. Now the next thing we are going to do is to determine the length where we're going to stop before we curve to the neckline. And also I'm just going to removing ½ inch from my basic neckline. Now I'm going to be slanting that ½ inch to the point or the length where I want to stop before I connect to the center front. And also I'm going to be marking the depth of my center front. Like I said, the depth of the center front is optional. Just use what you feel like is where you want your center front to be. Now you're going to be curving this to this point like so. Do not forget to slant that very line at the shoulder that went straight or close to the armhole area. So this is what it's going to look like. Now we're going to be contouring that part, because if you do not contour, it's going to gap. It's a cutout neckline. So if you do not contour, it's going to gap. Now we're going to contour only the neckline. And I'm marking my bust arc, because on top of the bust arc is where we're going to be imputing the amount of dart intake that we're going to be using. Like I said, your dart intake for any contour dart should be 0.1 to 0.5 inches, between 0.1 to 0.5 inches. So right here I'm using 0.3 inches, and I'm using my marker to make this hole visible so you guys can see it clearly. So right now we'll go ahead to start manipulating or opening up the darts and closing them. Firstly, I always start with my side bust dart so that I can open every other dart and transfer the excess there. So I'm opening the neckline contour dart and I'm going to close it to transfer the excess to the side bust dart that we already opened, like so. Like I said initially, please do not just use your pattern as a half scale. Do not bother cutting it in full, okay? I've gone ahead to close all the princess seams, and then we are going to be cutting these very darts that went from the waist to the contour of the under bust and all the way to the bust point. So we're going to be cutting this out right now. So opening this up, this is what it looks like. And this is what this very particular one looks like. I'm going ahead to tape it down like so. Also going ahead to tape it down. So this is what this very particular one looks like. And we'll head straight to the next one. So this next one is an asymmetric neckline. It's also a bustier. Okay, so every neckline here is a bustier. First thing, I'm marking my princess seam, my armhole princess dart. Like I said initially, I used armhole princess dart for all of them. So for this very particular one, you're going to be cutting it out exactly the way I'm doing, in full, because of the structure or the design of this neckline. So I'm going to be removing 1 inch or 1.5 inch from my basic neckline, and here I'm going to be coming down by 4.5 inches. This is also optional. You can decide to come down by whatever it is you want to come down with. So I was drawing the neckline and I found that some parts went outwards. I had to add extra pattern paper to that. So we connected this both like so. And I'll use my scissors to cut out this very part of the neckline so I can fold back this pattern in half, so I can work with it and not have anything to obstruct me. I'm gonna have to fold it back in half. And now we are going to be contouring only this part of the neckline, because the other part is not a cutout. It's very close to the neckline, but this other part is deep. So we are only contouring this part where the neckline is deep, so it does not gap. I've gone ahead to mark in my bust arc, and on top of that bust arc, I'll mark my dart intake. Please, if you're a plus size, you want your dart intake to be 0.5 on the dot. But if you're slim, you can use 0.4, 0.3. So this is my neckline contour dart. Okay. Then I'll go ahead to open up my side bust dart. At this point, I forgot that I've not imputed my under bust contour, but I'll do that. So remember here, we only contoured this part of the neckline. Okay, please do not contour the other part. This is the only part where the neckline is deep, so we only contoured this part of the neckline. Now you have to mark this very armhole princess seam style line so it's visible on the other side, because by the time you close the dart of the other side, it's going to affect this area if you did not close it up. So now I've traced it out and it's showing on the other side. So now I can go ahead and close up this dart. So having closed up this dart now, what I'm going to do is to create my armhole princess dart. Please do not forget to transfer the style line for the armhole princess dart to the other side first before you close up the neckline contour dart. So I'll bring this back right here, and at this point I'm going ahead to contour my underbust. If you found this video helpful, please do want to share it to other sewing platforms where they'll be needed. Give it a thumbs up, and I am really grateful for that. At this point, my ring light was giving issues, but then I kind of fixed it up a little and I continued. So now I've removed that, the underbust dart and the basic neck, the basic waist dart. So this is what we have here, and we'll go ahead to cut this out right now. So this is what this looks like. There are so many ways to join this together. You can decide to join firstly on your one side of your princess armhole, okay, or you can decide to join these two together before joining the princess armhole. So this is what this looks like, and we'll head straight to the next one. So the next one is a canoe neckline. All right, it's very simple, it's very easy, and it's very beautiful. Also, it's a bustier, so we're going ahead to impute our princess armhole princess dart, and also I'm going ahead to contour my underbust. You guys, it wasn't easy putting this whole tutorial together because this is like making 6 different designs. It was stressful, but then you guys are worth it, okay? So I'm going ahead to mark in the dart like so right now. Now there's one thing you need to know about a canoe neckline. Your shoulder area, you're going very deep. Like you want to have 1.5 inches or 2.5 inches left. Now for the neckline, you're not going deep. From your basic, please, just by 1 inch, come down by 1 inch. Whereas on your shoulder, you are going deep. I hope that is understandable. On the shoulder, you are going deep. On your neckline, you are not going deep. 1 inch from the basic is okay. And we're not contouring anything here because it's not a cutout. So this is very simple. We're not contouring anything. The rules is you're going deep on the shoulder and you're not going deep on the neckline. You are going deep on the shoulder, but not deep on the neckline. From the basic neckline, 1 inch is okay. So that is the rule for getting the canoe neckline perfectly. And I'm going ahead now to, remove the dart of the waistline and the underbust contour. So we're going to be throwing this because I do not want all those pointed edges and stuffs. I'm going to be marking it out and using my scissors to cut it out, okay? Then we'll go ahead to cut out the neckline. So you have your canoe neckline here right now. And this is what this looks like. We'll head straight to the next one. So this very next one is like an off shoulder and a shoulder kind of design. But let's head straight to it. Next, also, I'm going to be marking my armhole princess dart, like so. And then I'll go ahead to open this up so that I can impute the design of the neckline. So I'm marking from my neckline. I'm going to be marking 1 inch. You want to mark same thing on both sides of the neckline piece. If you're using 1 inch on this side, let it be the same thing you're using on this side. You want to use same thing on both sides of the neckline. So that is what I just did now. And I haven't done that. From that very 1 inch, you want to mark another 1 inch, which I just did like so. Then you're going to be marking a curved line and connecting it to this point of the armhole like so. I'm going to use my marker to make this all visible so you guys can see it. So now we're going to be contouring our underbust. The reason why we are contouring the underbust is because every design we made here is a bustier, and a bustier has to be fitted at the underbust. So at this point, we are going to be marking the contour guideline of the shoulder because this is an off shoulder, okay? We're going to be marking the contour guideline of the shoulder at this very side, right? Because that side is an off shoulder. So we're going to be marking the shoulder contour guideline at this side only because the other side is like a basic. The other side is with shoulder, it's not an off shoulder. So that is what I've gone ahead to mark right here. Then I'll go ahead to open up my side bust dart so that I can close that shoulder contour guideline and transfer the excess to the side bust dart. So I've closed it, and of course I'm going to be transferring the excess to that very place that I opened. So this line kind of broke, so I'm going to be making sure it's together. So now you want to bring this close because like I said, by the time you closed that contour dart, it kind of altered the pattern. So you want to make sure everything is in line before you cut open the style line for the armhole princess dart because it's also going to be appearing on this side. So I haven't done that now. We'll go ahead to close it at the side bust darts and transferring the excess to that style line so we can create our princess armhole princess dart. And I haven't done that. I'm going ahead now to open up or cut out these darts for the underbust and the waistline up until the bust point. At this point, I'm going ahead to mark this like so. So now we're going to be cutting out all these whole style lines. First, I cut this very one here because that design actually went into that part. Then I start cutting off the whole of this part. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to have to cut out the neckline after I must have taped this down. And this will bring us to the end of this tutorial. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.